Hey guys, Tim here, aka FCFan21, and this time I bring you a somewhat different video. I have been a draft league coach for Pokemon Draft Leagues for almost a year now, and in that time I have documented a lot of games, and yeah, in all those games and all those teams I had multiple I just had a lot of different Pokemon, and I've decided I wanted to make a top tier list of Pokemon that I've used, and yeah, just see what my favorite mon in Draft League was. I've compiled a list for myself from all the Pokemon that I've used, or almost every Pokemon because I can't remember them all, and I've picked the 10 Pokemon that I've enjoyed using the most. So yeah, I wanted to make a top 10, and this is it. Before number 1 we'll have a short list of honorable mentions, but without further ado, let's go into the top 10. So we are gonna start off with number 10, and number 10 is going to be Landorus Therian. I have used Landorus Therian in my GBA fan tournament, and I'm not sure if I used it anywhere else, but Landorus Therian is just an incredible Draft League Pokemon with his enormous attack and very decent special attack stat. You can use it either specially or physical offensive. You can use it as a more defensive option with Intimidate, Stealth Rocks and all that stuff. Just has a couple of weaknesses that are not all that worrisome if you prepare well. So only reason why this isn't all that far up the list is because I've used it once in a 2-game tournament, so I felt like I couldn't put it up much higher. But it is one of the better Draft League Pokemons there is. And yeah, I basically thought to myself I should be drafting this more often because it's such a big threat. So let's go to number 9. And number 9 is going to be Hisuian Arcanine. I have been using Hisuian Arcanine in the Sunny Shore Battle Federation Season 10, and I've used it in the Lazymon Draft League. The Lazymon Draft League is at least for me, somewhat failed experiment of a draft league. But the SBF is one of my, 2 home leagues. I really feel at home. I really feel appreciated there. So yeah, I really enjoyed using Hisuian Arcanine. Either Bandit or Scarf, this thing will always do a lot of damage with Rock Head, Head Smashes, with Flare Blitzes, Double Edge, with Terra Normal, Wild Charge. And yeah, that massive attack stat is always very nice. Terra Normal, Extreme Speed is always a great way to go. But something to keep in mind is that I really do like it with the Terra option. Without it, it doesn't hit as hard, but still will be a great option on anyone's team. Downside to it is the big water and ground weakness, which are pretty spammable in draft. So yeah, it does. I feel like it does really need the Terra option to be very viable. And yeah, without it's just a lot less viable to run. But I do think it's a great mon to draft, and yeah, just a great physical sweeper for a team. Next up is number 8. And number 8 is going to be Grimmsnarl. Grimmsnarl I've drafted in, I believe, the GBA Fen tournament, and I definitely drafted it in the LazyMon Draft League. Yeah, I really do love using Prankster Mons for some reason. I really like disrupting teams with priority. I really do love using Trick, and yeah, this thing is one of the best Trick Mon users. Because Dark and Fairy, and so this thing can block any Prankster Mon against on the opposite side of him, and on the other hand, Dark types that are there to block his Prankster priority can be taken out with a Fairy type move. So besides that, it's very bulky. On the physical side, it has a lot of physical attack, and yeah, besides being a Prankster Mon, it can also be a setup sweeper with things like the bulk up option, and just be able to tank more hits that way and deal a lot of damage. Downsides to this Mon, yeah, because of his typing, he does have a above average amount of weaknesses, which is not all that great, but yeah, in the end I really do like using this Mon, and again, should be drafting it more often. So yeah, that was number 8, so up to number 7. And for number 7 we have Iron Threads. Iron Threads I have drafted more than a couple of times, most recently in the MMC Season 3. Yeah, where to start? I think Iron Threads, it's a great Pokemon because it can fit into multiple roles. It can be a setup sweeper with his Quark Drive, that's it. With his Quark Drive booster energy, you can get a attack boost, and with Rapid Spin up, you can get a speed boost, and basically start sweeping teams when the time is right. Besides that, it's a very good hazard removal Mon, because it does not take Toxic Spikes damage, and Stealth Rock damage is basically just 3% because of the dual resistance. Ground and Steel typing is a very big need in Draft League, because Ground is the only thing that can reliably get rid of electric type Pokemons, and Steel is there for Fairy, Dragon, Steel type cores. Yeah, this thing is mainly run physical, but you can also use it in a special set with hard hitting moves like Steel Beam. And yeah, I always enjoyed using Iron Threads, aka Elon Tusk. Yeah, it does a lot of damage. It can tank a surprising amount of hits because of its natural high defensive stat. And yeah, if I need a Rapid Spinner, if I need a bulky offensive Mon, this thing is definitely one of my to-go Mons to get there. So with Iron Threads gone, let's go to number 6. And number 6 is going to be Alomomola. I've used Alomomola in the CDL, which let's see, I'm not sure when I'm going to post this video, but the CDL has been a Gen 6 Draft League, and in there Alomomola has been my kill leader for the regular season with a 8th and 2 record. This thing can just take hits very reliably, has a very high HP stat, so it's a great Wish Passer. Because of that high HP stat, it can tank normally 1 or 2 hits from super effective moves and retaliate with either a Scald Burn or a Mirror Coat. It can be a Toxic Stall set with Protect. It can be a substitute set if you wanted to. I'm not really sure why, but gets great support moves in knockoff, and I do believe it gets something like a haze or something just to get rid of stat boosts. So yeah, this season in the CDL I've really enjoyed using the Alamomola, and I came to the conclusion that I should use it more often. So yeah, this is my first defensive mon that I really liked using, and that's because it's not much of a passive user, passive defensive wall, but something that can do big damage if you are not prepared well for it. So yeah, that's been number 6. Let's go next to number 5. And number 5 is Ogerpon. I can't really remember in what seasons I picked up or used Ogerpon, but I've always really enjoyed it. I've had a Ogerpon Cornerstone in the NBA season that I used, and yeah, just Ogerpon regularly is a great mon to have because it's pretty versatile. And just very, very strong. It doesn't really matter what mask it wears because it's always every masks give it a boost in his attack stat. Ivy Cudgel is a great hard hitting move with the plus side that it does not make contact for it. So Rocky Helmet doesn't get triggered by Ivy Cudgel. Yeah, anything like that. Trailblaze is a great move on it because it does have a already decent, very decent speed stat of 110, but with the grass stab option with it, it just hits a little harder. And yeah, this thing can easily steamroll a team if it's not prepared well for. I've put the Ogerpon Hearthflame mask there because I do think that's one of the two best. It's either that or the Wellspring mask. I'm really on the fence about it because the Wellspring has a little less weaknesses to it, but I do think the Hearthflame mask is just a bit offensively hard hitting and does more damage in general, I believe. So yeah, that's number 5. Let's go up to number 4. And number 4 is going to be Comfey. I can give a spoiler alert or a spoiler in this video for the Burnt Tower Draft League because I have been able to pick up Comfey for at least the last 2 weeks of regular season, and of course everything in playoffs that I am able to play. I've had Comfey also for the MMC Season 3, and it's just an incredible mon to have. It can always, you just basically always need something prepared for it because otherwise it can just steamroll out of control with Calm Mind and Triage, Giga Drain, Draining Kiss, and just take a lot of recovery every time and have priority with those moves. Besides that, Leech Seed is a great move for it just to get even more HP back, and it's just so annoying to face off against. So yeah, I am always very happy if I'm able to draft Comfey. In the MMC I think it was a little bit lackluster because it couldn't use a any Terra types. In the Burnt Tower Draft League I gave it the Terra Fairy, Ground and Fire. So Terra Fire for Steel types, Terra Ground for Poison types, basically. And yeah, I am really glad I can use Comfey as a Terra Captain in the Burnt Tower Draft League. So yeah, not much more to say there. Let's go up to number 3. And number 3 is going to be Hisuian Typhlosion. I've had this thing in my first season of the... Oh god, I can't remember the name of that league. Oh, this is so bad. I'm going to look it up while I'm talking over Hisuian Typhlosion. But I did have the Hisuian Typhlosion there as a Terra Fire Captain. And this thing, I'm not sure if I think I almost made it the kill leader there, but because it got killed one too many times, it barely missed out in the UPL. That was the league that it was in. But this thing with Scarf eruptions, this thing could have just at the beginning of the game just get rid of 3 Pokemons and made the game so much easier for me. Yeah, once with a Terra Captain, with it as a Terra Captain, it's just doing so much damage, and I really loved using it. The Ghost typing with it made it a great spin blocker for the times it wasn't terrestrialized. Frisk was always a useful ability to use against opponents, so you could scout for items. And yeah, I've basically never used it because this year I've wanted to try as much other Pokemons that I could. But Hisuian Typhlosion has always been somewhere on top of these lists for me because I just really liked using this. So yeah, that's the start of the top 3. Let's see what's at number 2. And the number 2 spot goes to something very dear to my heart. I've used it in multiple leagues. And yeah, basically look into a dictionary at bulky offense, and I think you will find Primarina there. Aerial, Triton, depending on the gender. I've always had so much fun using this. It tanked a surprising amount of hits for me, even once I didn't expect it to live. With its high special attack and special defensive stat, you never really needed that much investment into it, which made it even bulkier on the physical side. It had a nice couple of sets that it could use with choice packs, and just hitting hard with things like Surf, Ice Beam. Not sure if it got any Energy Ball because I haven't used it all that much lately, but yeah. It could be a more defensive set with Toxic and Aqua Ring. Yeah, I've always had some fun sets with Primarina that I could run, and I've always been very pleased with the role Primarina was having on my team. So, yeah. Before going to number 1, we will go to the honorable mentions. First of all, Mega Scizor. I've had my first 6-0 sweep with a Mega Scizor, so it's always will have a special place in my heart. It can be more offensive with a agility sweeping set. It can be a more defensive set with Defog and Roost. So yeah, it's always a great mon to be using, I believe. Just like Celesteela. Celesteela is so hard to prep for, and I am very glad I am having it in my SBF team this season. Yeah, it can be a physical set, it can be a special set, can be defensive with Iron Defense and Leech Sheet. It can be a sub-leech set with 2 hard-hitting moves. And with Beast Boost, it can be either hard to take down or it will just do incredible damage. The next Pokemon is basically tied with one other because of the role it fulfills. I'm talking about Zacian in my NBA team and Barraskewda in my current Burn Tower Draft League team. Both mon basically claim kills every single game that they are brought. So basically very fast mons with very high attack stat. And yeah, just click buttons and you'll basically kill something. Very nice to use. Barraskewda, of course, with the Terra water type, hits even harder. Zacian, yeah, never let that thing terrestrialize because it's already a monster on its own. And last but not least, Archeludon, also from my current Burn Tower Draft League team. Yeah, it can be incredibly bulky and it can hit incredibly hard. So yeah, don't be surprised to see Archeludon on my team more often because it's a great mon to have on the team. But how great, it doesn't matter how great those 5 mons are, they don't compare to my favorite draft mon this past year, and that's going to be number 1 is going to be Hoopa Confined. Hoopa takes the crown here. This thing is always a bargain for some reason, because probably his dual Ghost and Dark type weakness, but that's the only weaknesses it has, I believe. Ghost and Dark. It's just an incredible Pokemon with a high physical attack and special attack stat, a high special defensive stat. This can either be a bulky Assault Vest Pokemon with hard-hitting moves, or it can be a Scarfed Mon and surprise things and get knockouts that way. Yeah, I've always loved using Hoopa on my team. I've had it on multiple teams, including my current CDL team, and I've got it now on my Burn Tower Draft League team as well because I've dropped Indeedee for it. Indeedee and the Basque Legion for the Comfey and Hoopa Confined. So yeah, I've always enjoyed using Hoopa. I will always enjoy using Hoopa, and it's just such a great mon to have on the team. I just adore this little guy, and I have not much to say there. Hoopa takes the crown, and I am always very happy to have this little jokester on my team. So that's my top 10. I am curious, what do you think about Hoopa Confined just as a Pokemon? And let me know what your favorite Pokemon in Draft League is down in the comments. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I hope to see you in my next draft game that's coming up. So with that all said, hope you have a good one, and see you later. Bye!